Hello, this is Emily, and today I would like to complete the Beneviento family. I've decided to make Angie out of one of the Enchantimals dolls. I remove her hair, mouse ears and makeup, and then carve her head like a watermelon. Luckily her head is made out of a tough rubber, what makes it easy to cut and sculpt on top of. According to Angie's concept art, her face is based on the same sun and moon theme as Beneviento's family crest, which represents life and death. If you have a closer look at her face, you may notice that the left side of Angie's face has bigger and sharper features, and we can also see a third eye. I guess it's a part of the cadeau, which is looking out of the big crack on her forehead. To sculpt all of these features, I use epoxy sculpt. Sometimes it can fall off the rubber face after drying. In this case, I glue them back with super glue and then sand the doll's face in order to get a smooth texture. Afterwards, I can spray it with Mr. Super Clear sealant and cover her face with white acrylic paint to even up the color. I prefer to make the outfit before finishing up the body to prevent accidental scratches of the paint. I started making a classic dress, but I realized that 2 layers of fabric was too thick for such a small doll, and it wasn't leaving any space for attaching the arms. I've decided to leave the upper part of the dress for now and just make the skirt. At this point I thought I will just glue the piece of lace on top of her body instead of sewing something, but the final decision will be made after I painted her. Angie's skirt consists out of 3 layers of fabric. The lower skirt is made out of cotton fabric and 2 upper skirts made out of lace. This was supposed to be the end result of the skirt, but I noticed that the edge of this lace gives a nice gathering, and I definitely wanted to use it. It would have been 1,000 times easier to attach it to the upper skirt before connecting all of the layers together, but now it's too late. However, handwork and some time can solve any problem. I think it was worth it. The skirt is done, let's continue with the body modifications. Because of the small scale, this time I would like to sculpt all of the accessories, including her shoes, directly on the doll. It's a bit hard to sculpt on a rubber base, but I was able to make it work by sculpting a rough form first and carving it in form after the material dried. At first I wanted to use the original arms of the doll and sculpt on top of them, but unfortunately they were also made of rubber. The epoxy sculpt was always cracking on them, and I wasn't able to fix it properly even with super glue. Sculpting the arms completely from scratch was a good decision. The arms came out much more like Angie's. It wasn't hard at all since it didn't need to be perfect. Angie is a perfect imperfection. Sculpting hands is a bit trickier, but if you take it slow and let the epoxy sculpt dry from time to time, it makes the process much easier. I made the palms first, let them dry, and now continue sculpting fingers. In general, I struggled a lot with Angie, mostly because of the rubber body parts. Maybe I should have sculpted her from scratch from the get-go. And another problem I have is paint falling off the joints. Because of that, I decided to connect the leg parts the same way as the arms. And I would like to use the opportunity to remove the leftovers of her rubber legs and arms from the body and replace them with epoxy sculpt. It's easier to drill and nothing will chip off. Before painting the body, I sprayed all of the plastic parts with a primer for plastic and rubber legs with MSC to make sure the paint will hold on to it better. At first I used white paint to even up the color and then use ivory as a basic color. The left side of Angie's face I covered with grey acrylics in order to save time, and then blushed it with grey, black and brown pastels. I work on the face, body and limbs at the same time to make sure everything fits well together. After blushing, I covered everything with MSC. To the top of her legs, I glue a piece of felt to make it soft and safer for the painted parts. MSC gives items a paper-like texture, which makes it easier for us to draw on top of the sealed elements and layer the paint. But after the final layer of MSC, I don't need the paper-like texture anymore. Angie is a porcelain doll, and to make her look like a porcelain, I cover her with one layer of semi-gloss, transparent acrylic paint. Porcelain dolls are very popular, you know. This time I would like to reroute the head with yarn. This yarn is not good for brushing it, but if to use it how it is for a curly hairstyle, it looks acceptable to me. Just the color looks a bit too warm. I tried to make it lighter with white pastels, but I don't know if it looks any different in the end. The problem with the top part of the dress I solved by sewing just a little sock out of a piece of lace. For the flower crown I made flowers out of lace and ribbons and painted them with markers for textile. I glue the flowers to the doll with all-purpose glue. Now we can build everything together. To fix the metal parts properly, I use a little bit of super glue. Isn't she cute? As a last touch, I would like to dust her dress with pastels to make it look worn out. Now Donna has a family! Let's have a look at the end result. It was a great pleasure to create those little scenes for photos and just look at them. I love how they look together. And did you like this video? If yes, give it a like and let's discuss it in the comments. Can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye!